Yeah, I just thought maybe I would process the tumultuous emotions that I'm experiencing. Because they just feel like my head just feels like a blender. Because I'm freaking out. I'm exhausted. So I suppose that I do appreciate being exhausted when I'm freaking out. It's a great gift because I don't have to think about anything. I can just doze, lie here, curled up, um, being forced to relax. um, not a, the thoughts can't race very fast because nothing's racing very fast, and so I'm grateful for that. Um, but I'm still having all kinds of crazy, warring emotions and thoughts. I mean, I'll have one thought that will come in, and then I'll have another thought that just completely contradicts it, and they're both true. And it's like, how can that be? You can't hold both thoughts. Like being lonely but being afraid to bring new people into your life. Those are, you have to figure that out. Be like, okay, well, you're gonna have to deal with the fact that you don't want to be lonely anymore. I don't want to be lonely anymore. I don't want to be lonely no more. I don't want to have to pay for this. I don't want to know the lover at my door is just another heartache on my list. So, is there PTSD over the vineyard? Well, obviously, when I exposed myself to the vineyard, I didn't expect the rejection. I remember thinking to myself, well, it's a church. They're not allowed to reject me. Um, I'm not stupid like that anymore. So I know they absolutely could reject me. Um, you know, I'm looking at the setup, and the setup with the vineyard is, they were set up to take this fall, and with the experience, it really does seem like they're just being set up to be the example of doing it right. So if that's true, then what does doing it right look like for this? I don't even really know because, of course, doing it right doesn't look like kicking me out on the sidewalk. But what does it look like? Looking at the materials and then to what extent are they supposed to embrace me? Um, and how? I mean, after he looks at these materials and he decides not to reject me. I mean, there's like I'm doing all these quotes because there's all these. It seems like to me there's all these different options. If he decides not to reject me, that's one level of acceptance, which Trevor decided against. So if he doesn't reject me, what does that mean? Then he allows me back in. Well, if he allows me back in, then he's going to be confronted with the fact that I'm Jesus Christ. That's not going to go away. So he can't just, there's kind of no halfway with this thing, which is why I feel uh, overwhelmed and confused and crazy because there's no halfway. Especially, I've made additional videos now where, I made that video where I was showing you what it's like when I go through a crisis of faith when things don't go the way I want them to go. And and I said that I was, entering into this with all humility. And then, of course, I go to the cathedral and they disregard me. And so then Jesus comes out and he's not all that humble when he comes out and begins talking about cleaning up his church. Um, so there you go. There's no halfway with this. If you accept me, then you accept that this is who I am and this is what I believe I'm here to do. And so if you invite me into your life, then you have looked at that and chosen for that to be your reality as well. That's the way I see it. Um, I would still be willing to just go to church and not say anything, probably. I mean, I do want to not say anything to the congregation. That's not the way I want to handle this. I'll speak to you, Anthony. You and I, and Elizabeth, because I am going to tell you to allow her to look at the materials at the same time, because I don't believe in husbands and wives keeping that kind of thing from one another, and I want you to have her support with this, so you won't be all alone in dealing with this reality, because I know how much that sucks. I'm not going to do that to you. But I do, of course, I'm going to ask you not to show anyone else yet, because I don't want a bunch of people who know of me but aren't willing to dedicate themselves to looking at all the materials, and so thus may jump to conclusions that they're going to regret later. So, you and I together, and you and I and Elizabeth will decide, and it's not even, actually we probably won't decide. I'm sure God will let me know who needs to be let in on this and who doesn't, and how to do everything. I mean, that's just it. I'll get this one step at a time. I wish I could outline you a whole plan on how this is going to work. I mean, I have, gotten a lot of different pieces about how we're going to improve this church, and of course you did it yourself. You did a needs assessment just when I needed to see what you were about. You're like, this is what we're about. And then you took my input on what you should be about, and that's just exactly what God wanted you to do. Just, he gave me just exactly what I wanted. So we know that's, what we're going to do. Absolutely, I agreed with it all, and I want to help you do it all. But, as far as who we're going to tell and when and how and all that, that comes step by step, and it's not going to be instantaneous, and it's, I'm not going to just come out on a stage and stand up in front of everyone, and, again, I'm not sure exactly how we'll do it, but I don't want to do it that way. I really feel like, again, it will be more about coming out to ministers, pastors, probably Pastor Dwayne, probably Pastor Steve. He did a wonderful sermon, but he too brushed off my comment after his sermon. It's funny, people are disregarding me, and I'm not a disregardable person. So if you're disregarding me, you're extremely distracted, or you're being controlled by demons, and really it's both. It's both. Because you, Anthony, and Elizabeth, and everybody at the Experience Church, Carrie, all of you can attest to the fact that I'm not a disregardable person. I'm a very enormous and powerful presence that you cannot ignore. So the fact that some people just seem to look right through me, that's demons. That's not them. Certainly not their souls in charge there. So anyway, I will want to come out to those people who can influence their own flocks. And I will want to come out to people at Kitsy, so that they will be conscious that they are my voice, and they will have the conscious guidance and support of the voice of God, the voice of truth. And then all my indigos that sing on Kitsy, definitely supposed to meet them. As I was saying on Twitter, it may be that I am supposed to meet them as simply a beloved friend of Kitsy, and allow them to demonstrate who they are in relation to that. See their authentic reaction to meeting someone who is Christly, without, of course, having all of the information, knowing that she is the Christ. I think that's probably what their souls have asked for, is to meet me in that way, so that they can demonstrate that they are the real thing. And so they will respond the same way the people at the Experience did, which is to gather and glow. Because that's what I do. I light people up. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to light you up from inside. I'm here to ignite you. I'm here to exalt you, to uplift you, to empower you, to impassion you. And so when my indigos meet me, that's usually how they feel. They're intrigued, they're fascinated, they can't get enough. I remember one of them, I was, I was in these pants actually. These are my jammy pants. I was in these. But then I had a big oversized long sleeve men's t-shirt on. And I had not washed my hair in about 3 days, which this is too, so it might have been similar, but it was a lot shorter and a lot weirder because I had the haircut was fresh. No makeup, no. And it was pretty late at night. It was like 9 something, it was dark. I was at the hostel. I was eating a bowl of soup. And this indigo came along and he just plopped himself down in the chair and he goes, I need to meet you. He was a very unusual looking, very skinny looking kid with long dreadlocks and totally cool ethnic clothing on and everything. And so I pushed my soup aside and I started just talking to him. And he asked me who I was, and over the next 4 hours, I told him. And he turns out he's a textile designer and clothing designer, and he wants to design the wardrobe of the Aquarian Messiah, and he was totally into it. And that's how my indigos respond. They're not intimidated, they're not overwhelmed, they're fascinated, they're intrigued, they light up. And he did. He just lit up, and he came to me like a moth to a flame. And that's how my indigos respond, free of conditioning, free of programming. The Christian programming has included so much unworthiness. Um, that's what I worry about, is people falling into unworthiness. I am the sweat from your brow. That's, no, you're not. You're an aspect of God. You're my brother or my sister. You're not the sweat from my brow. You're not the sweat from God's brow either. Um, so we got to work on this worthiness thing. And with my indigos, usually it hasn't been a problem. They feel very worthy. And um, so as I meet my indigo singers this time, I'm expecting that, even as I'm expecting, you know, profound respect. Of course, I deserve that. I'm the real thing. Anybody deserves it. I do deserve it. Um, but I can only imagine it's play. Yeah, I don't want them to forever worship me. I mean, I want them to forever bask in my presence, absolutely, but I want them to, get on with the mission. I want to be their friend. They're going to have, what a friend we have in Jesus. That's it. I want to be everybody's friend. I want to be everybody's personal friend. They're going to be personal friends with the Messiah. And especially the ones who are my indigos, there's mother love there. I feel mother love. I look at them and I just want to gather them into my arms and go, I'm so proud of you. Good job, kids. They're my kids. I love them like my kids. It's a different kind of love. So, I'm focusing on the positives. I'm focusing on where I see it going. Um, but now you can see the fear come back because um, this is a reality. There's no precedent for this reality, except, if you want to look at the life of Jesus. But there isn't even a precedent for that because he did not awaken from within an adult life and go, oh my gosh, I'm the Messiah. I didn't know that. No, that's not what his job was. That's my job because all of you are going to awaken from within the dream. You are going to awaken to your own divinity, to your own enormous mission, to your own enormous identities. So that's why I have to do it in front of you. Jesus didn't do that. He didn't demonstrate that process. So this is my job, and it's unique to me. And I did not expect to be stepping into a ready-made church, unless you count your followers, Russell. When I saw the kind of people you were amassing in your enormous followers list, those seemed like a ready-made church for me, a ready-made revolution. Crowdfunders and revolutionaries and social activists and totally cool people, anons and marijuana advocates. And, well, I probably have most of the marijuana advocates because of your own decision not to use marijuana, which is completely understandable, and I absolutely honor it. I hope you understand. I hope you know that. So, yeah, I thought that was my ready-made church. And it turns out I have a real church, the actual church. The actual church is my ready-made church. And, you know, for God, the Father, my dad, if you will, to just go, hey, that's yours. Go take it back. That's your next job. You know, it's not just, hey, here's something I got for you if you want it. No, it's my job. I don't get out of this one. Not that I want to. This is beautiful. I want to do this. There's nothing I want to do more because this is already a voice for Christ's teachings. And all of these people are already gathered and already listening. And so all we have to do is clear the message and we will be able to save all of these people who right now are not saved. Just like the people at Trevor's church, they're not saved. They don't know. They're not living it, and so they're not saved. If you're not living it, you're not saved. You're faking it. You're going through the motions, and you're still being used. You're still on your knees to the devil. So you have to live it. And so that's what we are going to bring about, is to live Christ's teachings, and thus be saved, and thus save others. So here I am preaching when I made this video to do processing. But I guess for me, preaching is processing because I see my true self come out and I can look into my eyes, past the glasses, put the glasses down and remember not to get them destroyed. I'll lean in a little bit, but not too much because I don't want to do the animals with a wide angle lens thing. But I do want you to be able to see into my eyes because they are the windows to the soul, and I know I can see Jesus looking straight out of them sometimes, and it's really fucking cool. That's why I watch my videos, because I can see Jesus looking out of my eyes now, and I can see the power that is there, even when I don't feel like it's there. Because I may feel kind of weak or scared or small, then when I look at what I look like as I am speaking, there's no question that I am speaking the words of God, that I'm speaking, that Jesus is taking back his church. Jesus is having his say, and he's, you know, quite eager to do so. So, yeah, it's Thursday night, so tomorrow's Friday, and I have my counseling appointment, and so I will, you know, probably take my shower and do the makeup because I'll probably be doing that video afterwards, the video for you, Anthony. It's weird because I'm making this video and I'm speaking to you, but this video is going to be made for you, and I'm going to be giving it to you, so someday we will laugh about this. You and me, partners. But yeah, so tomorrow I'll probably be making that video about how I have something to tell you. And for the next day, I'll go to church, and the sermon will probably be a message for me, and the songs will probably help me do what I need to do. And then I will meet with you after church and tell you that I need to talk to you, and then show you the video that I made for you, and give you my email address and wait to hear from you. Yeah. And I'll just be waiting in free fall with no control. No control. No control. I don't have control over any of this. I've said that before, but you really need to understand that the cherry, I don't have control. So I do as told, and then I experience whatever I'm going to experience as a result of it. And I often don't like it at all. But often, even when I don't like it at all, the joy of the Lord is my strength because I can see how amazingly divine the plan is and how beautiful it really is. I'm sorry if you get tired of hearing the word amazing, but it seems to be the word. I'll try not to overuse it, but it really just does seem to be God's word, or Jesus' word, or my word, Talia's word. It's my word. Because I'm amazed all the time. God's amazing. He just keeps amazing me. Wow, that's amazing. What's another word? Um, Surprising isn't quite the same. Amazement is a different feeling than just surprise. Um, Astounding, yeah, it's astounding. Um, but amazement's even different from astoundment. I don't know what the word would be for astoundment. The state of being astounded. Anyway, so that's what that's what I'm dealing with. What do I fear? Um, I fear my own fear. I fear just the feeling of stress, just the suffering, which is a choice because it's like, well, then quit suffering. Like, I hate worrying. Well, then quit worrying. I hate this anxiety. Well, then don't be anxious. Um, we all know it's not quite that easy, but we also have to admit it is a choice. I don't have to be anxious. That doesn't help me. I think it was Mary, Mother Mary, who said, worry never added a single day to your life. It's just a big waste of time and energy. those were her exact words. I've heard it in the Passion of the Christ a couple different ways now, and so she's right. So I can worry if I want to, but I hate worrying, so why do it? Um, I can feel fear. What am I afraid of? I'm afraid of suffering. Suffering is a choice. So don't do it. Then you have nothing to be afraid of. Well, it's not the only thing I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of overwhelm. Um, you know, uh, I can't, I can't imagine what's coming next. I can't imagine Christians meeting their Messiah. What's that going to be like for you, Anthony? Um, I don't know if have you ever sat around and imagined meeting the Messiah? Did you have expectations around that? Have you visualized that? Because, you listen to that song all the time, just like I do. What did you think it might be like? I never had anything that I thought it was going to be like because I didn't really see it happening. Again, I did not see this being the way I was introduced to the Christian church. I thought it would happen much further down the line, and I thought my cousin would bring them to me after I already had a following that was, secular, non-Christian. The Christ is much more easily embraced by non-Christians. I know that's really sad, but that's what you and I are going to change because obviously you have preserved the true teachings of Christ. You are modeling the true behavior of Christ. So there is purity within the Christian church. That's wonderful to find out. I certainly did not know that. um, so there's no precedent for this. And I just want to be your friend. I just want to be your partner. I just want to make this happen with you. I can't control your response or your reaction. So I have to quit trying to manage it in my mind. Oh, I hope he acts this way. That's not up to me. That's between you and God. Excuse me. My part is just to not suffer. So that's what I'm doing by doing this video. I'm trying not to suffer. I've got a little more energy than I had earlier. Enough to sit up. I mostly haven't even been sitting up today. But I had to eat. My family made vegetarian pizza, so I did that. And, eating these cherries. So I have to sit up for that because I don't want to choke to death. I'm listening to Kitsy. I am holding on to you. In the middle of the storm, I'm holding on. I am. I feel, like it is a storm inside my mind because there are just too many feelings to deal with and too many thoughts to deal with and too many warring thoughts, too many thoughts that don't work with each other. Like being so incredibly lonely on the one hand, and then on the other hand being so afraid to expose myself to people. If I'm going to stop being lonely, I'm going to have to take this step. I'm going to have to step into the spotlight. And I know that's one of the many, many, many ways that God is using my loneliness to its highest advantage. My loneliness is pushing me to do something that I might otherwise be too terrified to do. When the pain of remaining tight in the bud outweighs the fear of blossoming, that Anna Nin quote. It's on my Twitter. So God makes it painful to stay in the bud. It's painful. I don't want to live like this anymore. So that's going to help me to take the step that I have to take anyway. I have to do it whether or not I decide that it's going to make me feel better. I have to do it anyway. Now, if I had a feeling of not do it, I wouldn't do it because, God holds me back too with my feelings. He'll be like, no, don't do that. Don't say that. Don't say anything. There are absolutely times when I am told to be completely silent, to not look at people, to be invisible, to completely cloak, places where I may be in danger or whatever. So I always know what to do in every situation. I always know. Even if I don't think I know because sometimes the anxiety that I am experiencing is the thing that he wants me to be experiencing in that situation in order to bring about whatever outcome it is that he's trying to create. And really, when I'm saying he, when it comes to something like that, I really should be saying she because it's more Talia, my higher self, the Christ Oversoul. And even though it's a masculine energy, she identifies as a goddess in order to bring balance between the masculine and the feminine and to bring respect back to the feminine. God takes a female body in order to bring respect and reverence for the feminine back. So the Christ Oversoul prefers to be thought of as a goddess entity. So all of my aspects, I will explain this a little bit for you, Anthony, and Trevor, and any newbies. There are 178 aspects of my soul present here on the planet. They're my soul. They're me. They're Christ. But they don't have as much of the divine DNA. They do have some, 25% of their DNA is divine, whereas 75% of mine is divine. And they are in places of great influence and power, or will be placed into those places of influence and power. So that's part of the divine plan. That's part of how this will go down. Russell Brand. I know you're watching this, Russ. But speaking to Anthony, especially now, because you're the one that I'm going to be coming out to, and you're going to be partnering with me first. Russell Brand is an aspect of my soul. If you watch his videos or if you read his books, he's me. He's me in a male body having grown up in England, and he's, talks faster and thinks faster, and he has free will, so he's got himself into all kinds of trouble. And that was so that he could navigate those very dark waters, so that he could make his way out of them, so that he could show the rest of humanity how to do so. Because now he's been redeemed. Now we can see his true soul. And he's Simon the Zealot. He is one of my disciples. And when God very first told me to go and retrieve him, which was in November of 2015, God told me he will found your new church. And so, not knowing the story of Jesus, I thought, well, he must have founded my old church, because somebody did. Well, then the more we went along, the more I kept getting more mentions. We watched the Jesus movies together, and it kept showing Peter as the one that founds the Christian church. And it's like, well, who's Peter? Where's Peter? Why am I being put on to Simon the Zealot then? And why did God tell me Simon the Zealot's going to found my new church? Finally, when I met Pastor Trevor, that was when God said, there's Peter. He founded your first church. He is now standing as the old church, the fallen church that now needs to be redeemed and integrated with the new church. And of course, well, there's no of course for you, Anthony, because you're new to all this, but Russell did found my new church. It was through interacting, well, not interacting so much, but tweeting on his Twitter feed that collected my followers and began my church, the Twitter church, the River. And so he did found my new church. And Peter founded my old church. And so now Peter is going to help me analyze my new teachings and integrate them with my old teachings, and so that we can harmonize it all for the Christian church. And you, Anthony, are going to build my first church. You're a church builder. You're not a biblical scholar the way Pastor Trevor is. You are a church builder. You are a church father. You build families. And so you are going to be the head of my first church family. I mean, I will be the head, but you will be the pastor. I don't want to take over your congregation at all. Again, we will discuss together how much of it, what to tell the congregation, how much they're going to know, how that's going to work. Probably, I would prefer, we'll say this and we'll see what God says, I would prefer to be known as a teacher, perhaps a visiting teacher, a very good friend of yours who sometimes contributes, and but otherwise just sits and enjoys your sermons, and I'm happy to help you with them, of course, and then gets involved in building the church absolutely any way she can. A person who is baptized into the church, part of the church family, and is absolutely dedicated to making it the very best church that it could possibly be. But that's how I would like to be known in the church, is just as a teacher within the church. That's what I am, just a teacher. That's all I want to be known as. I don't seek fame. I have to adjust to the fact that fame comes with this assignment, but I don't seek it. Maybe I'll enjoy it. I don't know. It isn't something I want. What I want is influence. That's what I seek. And so if I can have influence behind the scenes, that's my ideal. That's how I want to do this. Okay, this has gotten to be a very long video, and I feel like I don't want to go too long, and probably should take a look at it. I feel better having said all of this out loud, and I guess I feel a lot more ready to make that video for tomorrow, because I feel like I've already talked to you, Anthony, and I have, because when you talk to someone, you're talking to their soul, even if they're not there in front of you. So I've talked to your soul, and your soul has now been prepared a little bit more for what's coming. Oh, let me give you a hug. This might be a while before I get a real one after I give you my materials, because it might take you a while to get your feet back on the ground after having them swept right out from under you. My job has been to sweep humanity off its feet. I'm here to make them fall in love with me. So if you're swept off your feet by what I show you, I've done my job and that's normal. And I don't blame you for needing to get your footing again. Ryan Stevenson is now playing in my ear. Eye of the Storm. Again, I have a storm in my head, and he also sings that I don't want anything to come between Jesus. I don't want anything to come in between me and you. Like, Ryan, you don't live very far away from Jesus at all. I don't think there's going to be very much coming between us for very much longer. I feel that way about you and me, Anthony. And I'm so ready to have family again. Again? I've had family in my time. You know, I had network marketing family. I had family within the fandom, and I had my indigos over in Humboldt, so I have had spiritual family from time to time. And of course, nothing like what I'm looking at here. We're just going to have to take it one step at a time, and just take every step with love and trust. This isn't up to us. This will be done through us. We can do it. And we'll hold each other's hands. That goes for you too, Trevor. All I want to do is hold hands. What a friend we have in Jesus. That's all I want to be. He's the best friend you ever had. That seems like a good place to